YouTube React monetization changes go through that affect content. Will that affect the content? I mean, I think that it will to like an extent, but like as I said before about like the YouTube monetization and like React content, etc. I don't really care about what happens because I will always just adapt and overcome whatever happens. As I said, I mean, things have always changed over the years with like the internet, like constantly. You can't get too tied down to the idea of what you think things are, because they'll always change, and like they'll change right out from under you too. You played WoW for 20 years? Yeah, but then I don't play WoW all the time anymore, right? So that's like kind of a good example. Like, I don't like things changing, but I think as a content creator, you have to know that's what's gonna happen. So for example, like I know for a fact that like certain things are just not sustainable. I think that content creation is going to look a lot different in maybe 20 years than it does, maybe especially in 30 years than it does now. So it's like, and then in 30 years from now, it's going to look a lot different than it will 30 years from there. And like, that's just always how things go. So it's always more beneficial for somebody for just nothing to change, right? That's always better. But the fact is, like, sometimes it's not better. So like, for example, like with my WoW streams, like if WoW was always good and I never cared about being better or like, you know, advancing my stream or anything like that, I was like, oh, I'll just, you know, play WoW indefinitely and that's about it. I think that that actually would have been worse for my stream. It better for YouTube content, we get watch party, etc. I don't know. I think that really the best option is probably just to let the content creators make the decisions themselves. I feel like anytime that like YouTube is going to get involved, it's like you're trying to make rules for like a website that has hundreds of thousands of people, like millions of people. I think you could do it as something like copyright claiming, etc. But then also, like, there's a lot of abuse that'll happen to people that, like, file a copyright claim against videos that are, like, actually fair use. What I'm saying is, like, fair use and, like, reaction videos exist on a spectrum, and inside of that spectrum, fair use does exist. So you get to the point where you're actually doing something that is not the law. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope it does. There's case law paper on this. There's standards for transformative content. Yeah, there are standards for transformative content, but and I know, like, are you talking like the four main standards, or are you talking about like specifics? Because like I think actually if you want to talk about like case law and specifics, you can make an argument for reaction content, because there is already precedent that some reaction content is verifiably transformative, right? And counts as fair use, and that's what happened with the H3 case. So there has to be like nuance to it as well. And I think what any concern is with like this or anything else is that if YouTube does something like this, I think that like what at least my concern would be, just a second, I'm fucking terrified right now, is that it's an overarching system. I think what YouTube should look at, and like if YouTube views reaction content as a problem, which I don't even really know if it does or not, my assumption is that YouTube doesn't really care. Like I think this is all probably just like clickbait, and like YouTube doesn't give a fuck about it, because like they effectively already have a tool to deal with it, which is like the copyright ID system. So it's like, what do you think the odds are that YouTube really cares about this? Pretty low. An argument for it, focus on the Nintendo and Evo. If Ego could technically claim basis for transformative content if they decided. Could you claim basis for transformative content if you're playing a video game? My understanding is that that's not possible. Now, I could be wrong about that, and I'm not confident about that 100%, but as far as I know, a Let's Play, like, have there ever been like a case of that happening? I don't know. I remember after PewDiePie had the bridge thing, like somebody said they were going to retroactively remove their consent to have the video game done, but that didn't go to court, so like that doesn't really mean anything. So I really don't know. Take into account developers haven't really exercised their rights over things that, like Let's Plays as well. It sets a standard. Exactly. So like, really, I think this is the truth of like a lot of content creators and like how they view like React content in general, is that the React content is generally beneficial towards them, and if it's not beneficial, the amount of effort that they need to I guess like remove that React content is very minimal. It's like, I don't know if there's anybody who's had a situation where it's like, man, you know, like all this React content's ruining my channel and people won't stop reacting to it. Like, has this ever really happened? Because I don't think it has. So it could be a situation where people are trying to like solve a problem that doesn't exist. Like, I think that it's within somebody's rights to say that I don't like people reacting to my content. I don't want this to be the case. I think it's actually like somebody, I think that they should have the right to that, to the extent that it's not a, you know, like a very, very clear example of fair use. I think that you should be able to say, like, you know, I don't want people reacting to my content and uploading it, period. Like, we've had people ask us to take it down, and we just immediately take it down. Like, we're not going to question it or anything. Like, it's abusable if there's drama and such, or someone gains from people not seeing it. It depends on what kind of drama it is. Like, posting bad shit about people, like, I don't really have I don't place a lot of value in this. I don't. Like, yeah, it's like criticism. In my opinion, like, the, like, cancel culture type stuff, that's something that, if it's not against the law, I'm not really that sympathetic towards people complaining about, you know, videos getting taken down. Well, it's definitely fair use. YouTubers thinks they gain very little from this exposure. Do you think it can be improved? Yeah, I think that, but like what I'm saying is that, like, do you think that it should be improved through YouTube creating a set of guidelines, or do you think that YouTubers should set those guidelines themselves? I don't think that, in my opinion, so you're for Roe versus Wade being overturned because that's the law now? What a bad fucking take. I'm gonna ban you.